hate you. Don't you think that they know better? Don't you think that they know better? If anybody said I hate you, don't you think that they know better? Don't you think they know you better? Your room looks cold and desolate, can barely hold this elephant. But even though we're here again, finding words is not our friend. You've told me of the tears you've shed, suffocated, filled with dread. And though you say I'm helping now, it's hard to see exactly how. It's never easy, never fair, and scattered pieces fill the air of hasty pictures that you drew with memories you'd rather lose. You can't see all the damage it does, and I haven't got a place at all. But don't look in the mirror, don't look in the mirror. It feels like the end and it's out of hand. Just please understand. Don't look in the mirror, death is in the mirror. Cold face first, see your worth. Nonsense birth, don't get hurt. Oh, I keep shouting out, I hate to. Don't you think that they know better? Don't you think they know you better? Oh, 'cause no one said I hate you. Don't you think that we know better? Don't you think we know you better?
Why, hello there. My name is John. Perhaps you've heard of me. I should probably turn on the light. I didn't even think about the video. Oh my god, that is blinding. I didn't even think about that. How you guys doing? It's good to see you. My name is John, if you don't know me. I am the guitarist for the band Until Further Notice. We're a rock group out of California. And yeah, today I'm going to be teaching you guys another one of our songs from our album, This Is Temporary. Came out last summer in the midst of 2020, I think. Right? No, it was 2021. God, how time flies. We're going to be teaching you guys the opening track to the album, actually. So I think we're about halfway through this series, because we've taught. Let's see. Let's count them real quick. We started with Misère because that was the hard one, and people wanted that first. So Misère du Amour, and then we did I Want to Tell You and Cat in the Window, and then after one of those, I taught T Stockholm Syndrome. That's 4, and then we did Mirror Mirror, and then now we're doing, and that was last time I think we did Mirror. No, and then we did Famous People just this last Saturday. For those of you that have been following maybe this series or know that we were doing it on Saturdays, this may seem weird because we're doing that on a Wednesday. But in fact, we are going to be moving these lesson streams specifically to the off Wednesdays when we're not doing a Patreon stream or a live at 5. And the Patreon streams are first Wednesday of the month. And then live at 5s are always third Wednesday of the month. So since this is the 5th Wednesday of the month, it's not like an every other month thing. This is going to be another lesson. So from now on, Saturdays will be filled with more gaming and tablet drawing from Ray and all sorts of that kind of stuff. I don't know if Jack's going to do some mixing. I know he might be doing that on his own channel, but I don't know. On his own Twitch. Who knows? One note though, about this Saturday, because it is New Year's Eve day, something. I think New Year's Day on Saturday. We are not going to be doing any stream this Saturday, so Twitch will be not live in 3 days when you're expecting. So, and then we'll come back on Wednesday and do our Patreon stream. Yeah, it'll be great. So. In the meantime, let's go ahead and at least get situated on The Boy Who Cried. I'll go ahead and show off the chart here. Boy Who Cried. I don't know if Twitch cares, so I'm not saying it. C add 9. It's really all power chords and single notes. So, and in fact, some of the chords there are just arpeggiated. They're not even hit as a chord. So you could technically consider them single notes. I just think of them as chords in my own head. So yeah. And if you have any questions for me, absolutely feel free to put them in the chat. Saturday is indeed the 1st. Absolutely. Noted. Yeah, and we're going to get going. Oh, one thing I am very happy about. This sound that I am currently running with, if you hear my guitar. Of course, let me know if there's any volume issue. But this is a new device that I got. Normally what I do is I take this big old honkin', well, it's not big. It's not too big as far as amps go. But I take a loud, heavy amp, tube amp, and I put a microphone in front of it. And now I have just this little brick, like this big, and it controls everything. It controls my distortion. It controls if it sounds like an amp or if it sounds like it's just going straight into a system. My reverb. And then I also have, it's kind of this one's a work in progress, but it's supposed to make it sound scrunched, like it's more digital and like kind of, I guess, crappy. I need to do work to make it sound really, but it definitely cuts out the volume and makes it different. So yes, I have a brick, just concrete brick that does all of this. It's very expensive. Please don't touch it. Ren says, not a question, but I remembered I learned how to play bass guitar exactly 3 years ago. So more of a fun fact. Woo! Bass is fun. All I do to simulate bass when I have my 7-string is put my pick down and play with my 2 fingers. And then I turn the pick up to the lower balanced one. What was it? Yeah, it's very difficult to... Oh, God. It's very difficult to just play bass in a punk band without a pick. Because, as Jack found out almost immediately, there's a lot of eighth notes. So your right hand is constantly just doing the same thing, and it gets so tiresome after a while. You get more stamina out of a pick, and you get a little bit of a different tone. It's a more sharp tone, so you can kind of pick out the start of the note better. Fun. You get extra brownie points if you know what bass part I'm playing right now off the top of your head. Yeah, you could just get strong right hand muscles, which is what a lot of bass players do. Yeah. Anyways, I prefer the pick hand. I'm so used to that. I can do it. If I'm on a bass, I can pick like, but it's weird. Everything's so close together on this friggin' thing. Yeah. So, we always start these lessons by just listening to the song. So I say let's go ahead and listen to The Boy Who Cried Steve, and yeah, see what the structure is, get a feel for it, and then I'll show you how to play it.
I'm in the dark, behind the curtain, my heart won't stop, and now I'm certain that I know how this script unfolds. The good guy wins, the bad guy gets caught, girl goes with him, that's what we're taught, but I know the darkness comes back again. Farther down the road we gain, our friends, they'll be here, stay with us till the end, isn't that the story said would happen? Truth comes out, we're broken inside, reading lines is not freedom tide. What's a potion the witch gives to me to feel better? Wolf, wolf, what a mess, you brought me to the edge. I'm done with you forever through, I'm walking off the ledge. And no, I won't fall for your plea. I'm done with you forever through, for all I care, just bleed.
This is my favorite part.
The dark returns, my cards are face up, the crowd yells praise and hate. It's
very fun to play on stage.
I know none are listening. The cliff comes near, the cars drive off it, the broken hearts follow, don't stop it. The poison reaches vitals. What was in the eyes so wild? Wolf, wolf, what a mess, you brought me to the edge. I'm done with you forever through.
Daniel Sherman on the drums, the legend.
You made me think that you were hurt. I thought you were
I really like that song. That song is very fun just as like a, I don't know. I jam out to that song. It's very anthemy. It's very much, I love, the lyrics are so easy to yell to. I think is the thing. Like you can really, especially that end, like just bleed. I yell that with Ray on stage every time I can remember to do so. By that point in the song, my hand is actually pretty tired. I will say, one of the hardest things as a guitar player is, um, basically trying to keep your hands doing different things because your hands can, of course, get tired doing really difficult stuff. But the one thing that really tires them out is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. The repetitive motion just kills your hand. That's why some of the hardest songs to play on stage live are actually like Missing Out, where it's the same chord progression through 80% of the song. Same exact chords. Even the choruses. And so for Boy Who Cried, it's fast and aggressive, so I hold the notes harder just instinctively. And some of the chords are uncomfortable, like in the sense of you just have to spread your hand out, and they're big. And you do a lot of this shape. And just sliding around with it. So, what is the guitar part for Boy Who Cried? Well, as you hear, bass and vocals start the song. And the intro, actually introing into Boy Who Cried, is one of the more difficult ones to do, especially if you're doing it live. And the reason is because you have to, not only do the singer and the bassist have to be in tune with each other in terms of harmony and rhythm, but the rest of the band does too, because we come together in a not like super defined way. Like there's a point where it happens, but it's more subtle, and it's kind of have to hit it or it'll feel messy. It's very easy to feel messy. So the way you intro into this song is if you got your distortion and your reverb on, you turn your volume knob on your guitar down. If you have a pedal that can do this as well, you can use that, a volume pedal. What you do, first things first, is you hit the harmonic of the 7th fret from the, let me turn my sound on so you can hear. And you hit on the D string and the G string, just those two. If the others, if like the B string or the A string ring out, it's not the biggest deal. It can give a little bit of a different character to it. The main thing is that you're creating that distorted, reverby, high-pitched resonance, and you fade in with it. So you just kind of hit that note while your volume's off, and then fade it in. It'll be very light, but if you do it a little quickly, it should be just fine. And make sure you hit those harmonics pretty hard as well, because you want them to ring out for as long as possible. So let me go ahead and shift the camera back down. So and the main hard part about this is timing that volume knob, because at least for me, I put it all the way up to full. That's how I make sure I have the proper volume. I just keep it at max the whole time. So when I'm doing this, my volume knob's like all the way down here. It's hard to pick out with the stickers. But what I'll do is it's going to be hard to see like this. Let me stand up. So I just go for one motion. You don't want to like wind it like a screw or anything like that, because it'll be uneven. So it'll literally be just pick, and you want to get it in one motion. If you have a bigger knob, it'll be easier. You can just slide your hand along it, but I have a small one, so I have to grip it and fully turn it. It's inconvenient, but it works. So once you've done that little chord, you have to have been counting with the bass player and the singer so that you come in on the right beat. So let's listen to it again and count
I'm in the dark,
the main.
behind the curtain,
And again,
my heart
there's
won't
many
stop,
difficult parts
and
about
now
it, but the
I'm
main difficult
certain
part
that I
is
know
doing the even strumming
how
while
this script
maintaining your count.
unfolds.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
The good guy wins, the bad
See,
guy
I was
gets
already.
caught, girl goes with
Look at that.
him.
I was already
That's
off.
what we're
It's very easy to just forget it and try to focus on getting that even fade in. You got to go eat junk. Din din. Where did junk come from? You know what? The K is near all of those letters on the board. It's fine. Go have fun with your dinner. So, all right. Anyways, yes, let's just do this. So, you get that even strum in. So, harmonic. 2, 3, 4. And by the time the downbeat of the next measure hits, you have to be ready to start doing power chords. You'll keep that reverb on, that gain on. It'll just be, you have to get your hands into position. So, let's go ahead and try to do that again.
unfolds.
All
Won't stop,
right after
and now
unfolds.
I'm certain that I know how this script unfolds. The good guy wins, the bad guy gets caught.
All right. Now, let's see if we can count that just by itself without trying to do the harmonic.
Now I'm certain that
1,
I
2,
know
3, 4,
how
1,
this
2,
script
3, 4, 1,
unfolds.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4,
The good
1,
guy
2, 3.
wins, the
It's a lot faster than it seems, and the reason it seems slower is because that drum beat in the the little ride that he's doing is off tempo, at least from what it sounds like to me. I've always considered it to be somewhat off tempo.
I know how this script unfolds.
It sounds like he's trying to do like triplets or offbeat triplets, but it starts really early. So that's why it's really important that you count in your head what they're doing.
I'm in the dark,
4,
behind
1,
the
2, 3,
curtain,
4,
my heart
1,
won't
2, 3,
stop,
4,
and now
1,
I'm
2, 3,
certain
4,
that
1,
I
2,
know
3, 4,
how
1,
this
2,
script
3, 4,
unfolds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
The good guy wins, the bad guy.
And again, if you let yourself sink into that drum beat, it's not gonna work. So one main thing, especially if you're gonna do this live, is keep an eye on the singer, because that's another way to cue yourself in to what they're doing. And you know, you'll feel it. You'll feel it when it's right. So, all right, let's go ahead and get past that. So from there, assuming you know how to do a power chord, all of these lessons have been done assuming people know how to do power chord. You start full volume on 3rd fret of the A string. That is a C power chord. Now, again, note, I mentioned this every lesson, my lowest string is a B. This is a 7-string guitar. Pay no attention to this string unless it's used for a note. And it will be in 2 chords. So, you start on that C, 3rd fret of A, you C power chord. And when you do the power chord, make sure you add the octave above it with your pinky or with your ring finger, depending on how you do power chords. So it should be 3rd fret of A, 5th fret of D, 5th fret of G. And then you'll do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 is the pattern emphasis with your right hand. You'll be palm muting all of it. And then you'll slightly lift up, or you'll really just, you can just hit a little harder on the palm mute to get that accent in. And then once you go to that little ascent, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, it's just a more straight pattern. You're not doing the 3s and 2s. Okay. So the chords are so a C power chord, 3rd fret of A, for 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then down to the 3rd fret of E, so a G power chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And here on the 7th string, I go down to a D, which if you tune your guitar to drop D, that's the open chord. Because I have a 7th string, I can just go down yet another string with the entire shape. Again, these are the same exact shape for all 3. don't pay any. Don't look at my middle finger. Same exact shape. And then if you don't have a 6th string, it can be a little weird. Basically, all you do to accommodate a 7th string versus 6th string is pay attention to what note they're hitting. If they're hitting it on the low B string and it's in standard tuning, which mine is, you just have to go 1 octave up. So 2 strings higher and 2 frets higher, generally. If you get up to the high B string, an octave will change the shape of it. It'll be 1 fret different. But for most all power chords that you're going to see, especially on the lower ends of the neck or lower strings, just know if you see someone playing a 7th string in standard tuning and they're playing a power chord on that low B, you can match it by going 2 frets up and 2 strings up. So that would be 5th fret of A, which is a D power chord. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, an E power chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. And so that goes E for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. F sharp, second fret, which is the second fret of E. F sharp for 2 beats. F sharp, G for 2 beats. So again, 8 beats, 8 beats, 8 beats, 4 beats, 2 beats, 2 beats. Wait, 8 beats, yes, 8, 8, 8, 4, 2, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Second time around, you hold that chord and do it for another 8 beats. So it'll go 8, 8, and then 16. So, yes, the power chord pattern is pretty much simple. That's kind of the bread and butter for the verse. You shouldn't really be doing anything else for the verse parts. All it is that C, G, D, and then E, F sharp, G. And then when you loop it, it goes C, G, D, and you hold D. So. And once you get down to that chord and you're starting to hit it the full 16 times, you can let go of those accents that you're doing on the strings. Kind of let them even out until it becomes like a steady build. So you're going. So it really just gets steadily louder. And it's fun, actually, if you're careful about it, you can hear the accent fade out, but then out of that, you'll hear the build start to pick up. So when I am kind of in my head fading out the accents, I'm not cutting them. I'm just playing the accent less and less aggressively until it evens out with the strums of the in-between. So you're also probably hearing, if you're astute enough, that when you start to get down to that build chord on your second rotation, you're hearing an extra note. In the second and third chord of that second rotation, so that G and that low D, I add in the middle finger, and I add it in on the string above your pinky. So in this case, when you hit that G power chord a second time, in the second phrase, when you hit that G power chord, you want to add the third, major third to it. So that would be the B. And that is on the 4th fret of the G string. So your G, so you'll start with that C chord again. So you go through the like 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Basic power chord for those first 8 beats, and then slowly try to hit the bottom of the chord first. And again, like basically widen up your strum when you're hitting that G. So when you are hitting that C power chord, just do it like you've been doing it. And then when you go to that G power chord, add the middle finger on the 4th fret of G, So you get that nice 4-note chord. But to fade in that high note, play it lightly and make your strum wider. And you can throw it in on the accents instead of on every strum. So, and miss the first accent. And hit it more aggressively each time. So you really are trying to make this note come in very subtly. And then same exact shape. Same shape, keep that middle finger there, and just move the whole thing down so you'll have the major third ready for that D, which is that F sharp. Boom. And then at that point, you've started building. So you'll hear it kind of come out during the build anyway. So, in summary, the intro is a little fade in on the 7th fret harmonic, so literally over the fret itself. Just hit the D and G string with your volume off and your reverb and distortion on, and hit it aggressively, and get that fade in. 2, 3, 4. Then go to your power chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. And power chord progression goes C, G, D, E, F sharp, G for the first phrase. Then the second phrase goes C, G, D, and you just hold that. And then from there, you'll get to really the kind of main part of the verse, because the verse has been going, but then it kicks into gear in the style that it's going to be for the rest of the song, which is no reverb. You click your reverb off, and you just go full send on all of the chords. Hit them kind of full power. I generally don't try to add accents. Hello, welcome back. I don't try to add accents to this. I just alternate strum it. A lot of punk guitarists down pick. It definitely helps give a little bit more clarity to the individual notes you're playing. I prefer just to do it alternate strumming. It makes it easier for me. I'm just so used to it. I think, personally, I like the variation it gives, because if you do alternate strumming, you, with your first strum, hit the low strings first, and then the higher strings come like milliseconds later, and then when you up strum, you're hitting them in the exact opposite order. So your brain still will subconsciously process the high strings as coming first, and it will just make it sound different. I mean, it does sound different. Like, you can kind of hear there's a little bit of a different bite to the chords when you come at it from the opposite direction. So I like the diverse tonal profile that offers. But hey, downstrokes absolutely have their place, and I have not been afraid to use them. So, anyways, we've got our basic chord progression, and you can repeat this chord pattern for, I believe, every verse. I believe it is valid for it. So again, that same 2-phrase chord progression of 3rd fret A, 3rd fret E, and then 3rd fret B, or you could do it as 5th fret A for the power chord, and then open E, 2nd fret E, 3rd fret E again. And that open 2nd 3 at the end is kind of half as fast, or sorry, twice as fast, or whatever. The spacing is different. And then the second phrase is just 3rd fret A, 3rd fret E, and then again 3rd fret B or 5th fret A. Either one will work. Or like that. So they're interchangeable. Same musical chord. It gives a different tone to it. That's why I like the 7 string, is you can go down lower and get that low tone with without having to tune your instrument every which way and sacrifice here and there. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get to it. So, we are getting to the point in the song where we're going to see some of these chords sneak in. The main one you're going to want to be prepared for, which is kind of the feature chord. This is honestly my favorite chord shape. Add 9 chords are so much fun. But C add 9 is the main one. It comes in every chorus multiple times, and it comes in during the post-chorus, pre-verse, whatever. So it's a very important chord. Be ready to stretch across that many frets. It is from 8 to 12. But yeah, the rest of the verse is just full gain, strumming on those power chords. There you go. When you're doing that distorted part, so the second time you're doing that chord progression through, after you've already turned the reverb off, so you're on your second time of the whole progression. I actually do use downstrokes there for the build. There's something that's more aggressive about that about using downstrokes there. So I recommend using downstrokes for the builds. So again, we've got intro fade in, and then the chord progression with the reverb, then the same chord progression, full send with the gain. You've gone through it twice at that point. And then you've got a pre-chorus that happens. And it only happens once. This is the first time and only time you're going to see this pre-chorus in the song. But this is a very 7-string pre-chorus as well, because I use the low C note, so the first fret of the B, and all of the first notes are single note. So I'll go ahead and show you the 7-string way, and just know that you can always just go 2 strings up, 2 frets up, and you'll get the exact same musical note, just an octave away. It'll still fulfill the same thing, the same purpose. Just need the 7-string to play this, our stuff, like properly, quote unquote, the way it was written. So anyways, you've gone through that chord progression. So you're on your last rotation. Mr. Fleur SD thing. Use your first time on that. You suck. Okay. Cool. You have not heard me play anything else. I'm teaching a song. So, cool. Whatever. Yeah. And then we've got, basically the chorus comes right after this little pre-chorus. So, the single notes for the pre-chorus are, I usually will slide down during it. First fret on that low B string, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. It's just whole note steps. So if you wanted to do it on a 6-string octave up, 3rd fret on A, 5th fret on A, 7th fret on A, 9th fret on A. I really like that progression. It's this is a tangent, but that actual like if you just keep going up in whole steps, it's a musical technique. I don't know what it's called. It's used in the freaking Spirited Away, whoever made Spirited Away and Totoro and Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli films use this technique in their score a lot, which is you just ascend by whole steps. And the effect it has is that it doesn't feel like the tone is resolving. You're not getting there, quote unquote. But it gives this really mysterious energy to it. So it's really nice. And you can actually, if you do it on piano and you do put a little reverb on it, it's what it sounds like when people go back in time if you just start going down. There we go. Jesus. On piano, it sounds a little more mysterious. Anyways, So we've got first fret on B or third fret on A, third fret on B, fifth, seventh, and then I usually will jump down to the first fret of the E string or second fret. Second fret is in key, actually. So it depends. Do you want chaos or order? Do you want to start from the out of key or the in key? So you can slide up from whichever one, from the bottom. All right, chaos. Ren says chaos. So we're just going to go from the first fret. And then you land that slide on a power chord. You've been doing single notes for 4 notes. And then you slide up and do, what is that? 8th fret power chord on E, which is a C power chord. And then slide up to D. And then slide down A open power chord. And you'll count this as each of these next strums are 3/8 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, hold. I guess would be like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. So first, third, fifth, seventh on the C, or on the low B string, and then power chord on the 8th fret of E, so that's a C power chord. Slide up to the D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Slide down, open A power chord, 2nd fret A, 3rd fret A. Just like that. And what's really fun as well about the tracking of that and the bass part is that the bassist doesn't ascend completely. He hits, musically he's ascending, but when he does that last note, so he hits that A, B, C with us, but that C is actually his low C on his B string, because he has a 7 string as well. And so it gives this weird sense of descending while the guitar part is ascending. So I really love those divergent things that we put in there. It's so much fun to listen to back, because if it's not my part, I like hearing how it changes my part. It's so much fun. All right. So anyways, that pre-chorus as its whole should sound like this. And then you're into the chorus. So let's go ahead and bust out the chord chart. Everything in this chorus is going to be power chords or octaves, which you've already been doing, so I'll explain that when we get to it. Other than the C add 9. I am getting so good at counting, all right? Thank you for noticing, by the way. Counting by playing, or while playing specifically, is very difficult, but it helps with your timing. So if you can get used to just playing and counting out loud at the same time, you'll be a much better musician for it. A lot of musicians just passively listen to what's around them and try to time it kinesthetically with their other musicians. But if you're actively keeping a metronome in your head, you're so much more consistent. So, yeah. Exactly. So bad at counting unless you're in concert band. That is a good time to be good at counting. So I am proud. All right, the chorus of Boy Who Cried is C add 9. First chord, it's going to be the first. That C is the feature chord in this. So yeah, 8th fret of E, 10th fret of A, and octave, 12th fret of D. So just like this. Again, my ring finger, don't pay attention to it. Those are the notes I'm hitting. No barring, nothing like that. You're just going up those strings. It's literally a power chord stacked on top of itself with like another power chord on. So, very fun. Anyways, the strumming pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you hit that first note on beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. all the next notes, all the next power chords that you're going to are on the and, or 1 and 2. And yes, they're on the and of the 4 of that measure. So you're going to anticipate switching. So you're going to switch early before the downbeat comes. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 1. So other than that first chord, all of the chord switches happen on the offbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Exactly. So chord progression for the chorus goes that C add 9, 8, 10, 12 on E, A, D respectively. 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, 3, and. So you'll basically be strumming on 1, 2, 3, and then the next chord hits on the and of 4, and then you do 2, 3, and. So you'll skip the 1 once you've hit that and of 4. Anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4. That goes down to the G, so that's the 3rd fret of the E string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And after you hit those 2 notes in succession, which I usually will do down, 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 up. So down, 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 up. It makes it a lot easier to, let me stop typing accidentally in chat. I hadn't hit send, but I was switching the scenes and it just starts typing numbers and it's distracting me. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I will usually mute right after that 3 and that is the time that I'll give myself to change. So I get exactly 1 beat to slide down to the 3rd fret of the E. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So chord progression: C add 9, G power chord, so 3rd fret of E, and then that D, so 3rd fret of B, or again you can do the 5th fret of A. The numbers were just 6 5 6 5, like back and forth over and over. So again, that you can go to that low D, or you can go to the high D, 5th fret of A, and then you slide up to the E power chord, which would either be the 7th fret of the A string. Yes? Yes. 7th fret of the A string or the 5th fret of the B string. Just like that. So C add 9, G power chord, D, E, D. Now, you'll notice I'm not just hitting the power chord, I am hitting the extra note. You want these chords to be full. So you want to add that extra 3rd whenever you can. So the G and the D, again, have that same exact shape of having your middle finger in between these 2 kind of roots of the power chord. But when you go up to the E power chord on the 5th fret of B or on the 7th fret of, actually, it's different. This is actually a situation where it's different if you have a 6th string. So I'll get to that when I get to that. But when you're playing on the 7th string, you've got the low D power chord, so your middle finger will be in between. And then when you go up to E on that 5th fret, play the bar chord. And you basically want to stop at the G string. You don't want to hit the G. So B through D, strum all of those so you get that nice minor 3rd. Cool. And then really that chord progression is the same with tiny variations throughout the chorus. So as long as you know that C add 9 up at the 8th fret of the E string. Again, I'll bring this back up. C add 9, and then all the rest are for later parts, so don't worry about them yet. C add 9, 3rd fret of E, 3rd fret of B, 5th, 3rd, back to C add 9, G again, 3rd fret, D, E, and instead of going back to D the 2nd time around, you go a little octave riff that I really like. You hit the 5th fret of E with an octave above. So it's a power chord, but instead of hitting it on just one string up, you move your ring finger to hit on 2 strings up. So this would be, this A octave is the 5th fret of E and the 7th fret of D. And then you just lay your finger over and mute the A string. Boom. And the little octave run, once you've gone from D to E, instead of going back to D, you go instead to 5th on E with the octave on D, and slide up after 2 strums to the 7th fret of E, 9th fret of D for a B octave. And that takes you right next to that C add 9 that we were doing before. The only tricky part is taking your hand position from this to this really quickly, because that's basically what you have to do. So you have to throw in that middle finger. Your 2 fingers will be on the correct strings, but you just slide that pinky up an extra whole step. And then once you've slid up to it, I do not strum that 7th fret octave, the B, but I do strum the C afterwards, so it has that percussive sound. And that one hits on the and beat. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Shoot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Oh, I almost had it. 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Yes, you hit it on the and beat. And 1 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. So there's a lot of offbeats happening. Just get used to that in this song. Second time around goes E, octaves, then back up to the chord. And then same as the first time, E, D, and then instead of going to the C add 9 for the 4th time around, you hit the low C power chord on that B. This is the lowest the song goes. So low C power chord, again, you can play that an octave up. So 3rd fret on A, power chord. And then you'll do the regular descent that you do in the verse. 3 on A, 3 on E, 3 on B, or 5 on D, or 5 on A rather. Sorry. So, yeah, for 7 string though, after you do the octave, you do a repeat of the first time through. And then you just do a 3-chord loop like that. C, G, D. And you cut off the D at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you cut it off on the downbeat, or possibly right before the downbeat of the next measure, and you let the full measure play through in silence. And then you go into the post-chorus, which is my personal favorite part of the song. But yeah, so as a recap, the intro has reverb on it, fadey intro with the harmonic. 1, 2, 3, verse chords. C, G, D, E, F sharp, G. Same thing again. Down to D. Build it. Turn off reverb. Same chord progression. Just keep the strumming straight. E, F sharp, G, C, G. Add in the higher notes. Pre-chorus, single notes. C, 3 on B, 5, 7, 8 on E, 10 on E, and then A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, chorus. C at 9, G, at the post-chorus, which again, just like the pre-chorus for the first chorus, is completely unique. You will not play this next part at all anywhere else in the song. And this is where the G triad and just the G triad comes in, because it'll basically, this pre-chorus is based on a different chord progression. It goes G triad, so you've got the third, which is the G power chord we've been doing, but you just remove the octave note. Get me back to that. We've already been playing this chord for the chorus and for the verses, so you just lift your pinky off. It just eliminates a little bit more filler. There's just a little extra tone there when you add the pinky. So you're taking it out, making the other notes a little bit more defined. So the chord progression for this pre-chorus, as you can consider it, is it's going back and forth between G, C add 9, G, C add 9, and then it goes to E and stays there. So G, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. Actually, the bass does a little walk upwards, so don't pay attention to that. But the guitar stays on E. So, what is the post-chorus? Well, let's listen to it again, just so we know exactly what we're talking about. Here's the pre-chorus. And 1, 2, 3, and 4, and cut. G, C, E. You can hear there that the rhythm guitars and the bass are doing a walk-up. The lead guitar is off doing its own thing, and I actually keep the E string ringing beneath me. So that actually adds a little more harmonic character as the rhythm guitars and the bass do that walk. So, anyways, what is the arpeggio on this? Because we're not playing these chords. You could, I guess you could, but it's a lot more fun to pick those notes individually. So I'm literally just walking up the chord. It's E, A, G, which those are the strings that the G triad touches. So E, A, G. So I've got 3, 5, 4. And I use the pick where I would normally slide up to C add 9 and just pick the 8. I actually hit the low E string on the 3rd fret on that G triad. You can think of it like I'm doing. And so when you slide up to that C add 9, do a really quick, just slide. Keep your low string on there. And then when you slide down from C add 9, feel free to slide down with your pinky, because generally don't. I guess you could slide back and forth with the root note. I think it's more interesting to slide up with the lower note and down with the higher note. If I can hit it. It's very easy because it's very easy to miss the 3rd note, because the C add 9 is having you hit E, A, D. The G triad is having you hit E, A, G. So you need to remember that your right hand needs to go E, A, G, E, A, D, E, A, G, E, A, D. So I find this riff easier to play with downstrokes because of that. So you're not kind of confused about which string gets the upstroke or the downstroke or whatever, whichever one it is on. So just like that. I love that part. So you do it, you hit both of those chords twice. And then you hit that low E, just the single note, just the open E. And then you'll do a little minor pentatonic walk up here from the 7th fret of the A, which is also E, so you're hitting the low note and the octave, and then you walk up. So you do 7 on A, so open E, 7 on A, 10 on A, 7 on D, 9 on D, and then 7 on G, and then 9 on D, 7 on D, 5 on D. So. And then once you slide down to that 5 on D, go ahead and make an octave on the 5 on A. So you need to slam. It's really what it feels like sometimes. Slam your finger down one string just quickly, and then add that pinky on the G string. So you've got 5 on A and 7 on G. Suddenly, you went from having 5 on D to not hitting D at all and hitting the strings around it. So, again, G, E, A, G, D. Sorry, G triad, E, A, D, C add 9. You slide to C add 9, and do E, A, D, back down, E, A, G, E, A, D. Hit that open E string. Let your hand slide wherever you want to, and then get into position. And then do 7, 10, 7, 10 on A, 7, 9 on D, 7 on G, back down to 9, 7 on D, 5 on D, and then octave on the 5th fret of A. And then slide up on that octave on the onto the 9th fret of A. And feel free to add a little extra percussive strum afterwards. And then you're back to the verse, where it's just that whole chord progression. Same thing for that verse. Anyways, so if you put that all together, the chorus into the post-chorus sounds something like this. And then you're back into the verse. So, verse should be exactly the same as it was the first time, except you don't do that reverb part. You just continue that part as muted power chords. 3, 4. And just you hit the accent on 2 and 4. So you're not doing that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, the verse starts... the second verse starts like that with muted power chords, just distortion. Same chord progression from the first time. And yeah, when you're doing those muted power chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you hit 3, 1, 3 for the rhythm. If you're counting those as 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and it just kind of helps cut through the regular groove of it, because the snare and the guitar at that point are just hitting on 2 and 4. So when you break the mold like that, it just sounds nice. So, do it again, and remember, you hold on this chord, the D, build, and then same as the second half of the first verse, just go full send, full ham on these chords. Ballistic, exactly. And that last like build section on the D, I'm not even building. I'm just hitting every single strum as hard as I can. And you skip the pre-chorus and just go straight into the chorus pattern. Same exact chorus pattern as well. So, yeah, that verse after the this next time, actually, I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to play it as I would play it on a 6-string, just so those who are playing on a 6-string know what it looks like. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that post chorus can be totally played by any guitar or any 6-string, six plus strings. Well, now 6-stringers. I want to backtrack and go over this because I actually don't think I fully went over this. I just kind of mentioned that you can do it an octave up. This is what the pre-chorus sounds like when you don't do it on the 7-string. It's really just those first 4 notes as you just transpose them an octave. So it played just the exact same thing. That's the one detriment, is that the whole deal of that breakdown or pre-chorus is that those ultra low notes for a guitar are really satisfying and crunchy to hit. So the fact that you have to play it differently on a 6-string, just it kind of takes away from the feel. Not too much though, especially if you have a bass that's still, like hitting the notes with you. So anyways, we've gone up through the second chorus. Boom. Takes away from the thunk feel. Exactly. Get it. Can I just talk about how that dude, came in just to say that and then left? I'm not even, I don't care. I just think it's hilarious that was that dude's entire day. Oh, nice. Emote-only chat. All right. So here's the thing. I don't exactly know if that's something I do. Jack is the one that knows how to do, emote-only chats. Yeah, just a rule. I'm just going to start sending multiple different things. I'm doing them in random order. Boom. I love that. By the way, little Easter egg in case you don't know, that little fire emoji, I'm going to go ahead and send it in chat. I've already sent it as UFN. But that little fire emoji right there has musical notes in it that are the exact musical notes in order for fire. For our song Fire. Because when we quote the song Fire to each other, sometimes we don't even say fire. We just go, oh, da-da-da-da. And so it's just become a meme within the band members that you just can say melodies and rhythms from any of our songs, and we know what song you're talking about. Fire with distortion. It's kind of difficult because you got to hit both. You got to hit, yeah, it's a weird, you'd have to do a weird hybrid pick thing. Anyways, so we've gone through the intro, verse 1, chorus, or sorry, pre-chorus, chorus 1, post-chorus, verse, chorus 2, and now the exit from chorus 2 is different from the exit from chorus 1, because if you remember from chorus 1, we went down to that low C power chord instead of going back to the C add 9 for the 4th rotation. And then we cut off 2, 3, 4. But for the second time through, you go down to that C for the second chorus, 4th time through, excuse me. Keep building. And then on the downbeat of the next one, instead of cutting out, you go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. You kind of single out the 4th fret of the D string, which you've been hitting in your chord. And you do a little quick slide up to the 5th fret D. And so then, from then on, you're hitting single notes. I love the Binding of Isaac characters and the creepers and corgis in chat. This is so chaotic. All right, so that was my dad that redeemed emote only chat too. Father, what have you done? Creeper. Aw, man. Dude, that brings back childhood memories. And right here, once you go to single notes and you slide up from 4 to 5 on D, you click your reverb on, because this part gets kind of spacey. So, and it's fun. Fun because of it. It's very atmospheric. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide to 7 on D, 9, 12, down to 9, up to 10. And then you slide to our next chord, F sharp minor, omit 5, or F sharp mommet 5, if you want to, if you'll be so kind. Now, the next few chords that I have are written the 6-string way. So just know that normally when I play this song, I go on the again, I go on that low D on the B string, so that my middle finger is on the 4th fret. I can slide up to the 5th fret on D, and then do that whole ascent and melody on one string. But if you're a 6-stringer, you can't hit that low D to start it, so you have to hit the high D. So you just basically have to 1, 2, 3. You have to cut your chord off and just go 4 to 5, or you can go to open. You can just the open on G, and then the 2nd fret, 4th fret, 7th, back to 4th to 5th on G, and then that F sharp mommet. So I can't stop calling it that now. 4 on D, 2 on G, and you hit them single strum, so whole notes, and then slide that shape up to the 9 and 7 on D and G. So it'll go from 2 and 4, or 4 and 2 rather, on D and G respectively, to 9 and 7. So again, if you're 6-string, you're doing the end of the chorus. Open G. 2, 4, 7, and this is with reverb. 4, 5, F mommet, slide up to the 9 and 7 with the same shape. I did not mean to bring the Be Right Back screen on. Okay, F mommet, slide up to the same shape on 9 and 7. And then you hit that same shape, the minor 3rd, on 2nd and open of D and G. And then back up to 4 and 2. And then you do A add 9, which is 4th fret of the G string and 5th fret of the E string, and then slide it up to the 7th fret on G and 8th fret on E. So you can see it goes 2nd and open, 4 and 2, and then you slide up as if you were to do like another 3rd chord here, but instead you hit the 5th fret on E, and you hybrid pick this, which means you hit the lowest note with your pick, and you use your ring finger or your middle finger to hit the higher note. So you skip all of the strings in between without having to do the full strum and mute stuff. You can just let your fingers hit those single notes and just hit those notes simultaneously. And then slide up to 8 and 7 again. Then, when you slide back down, you'll go to Gommet 5, which is 5 on D and 4 on... Is that Gommet 5? Yes. Yes, I'm correct. I'm sorry. So 5 on D, 4 on G. And then you'll slide up to 7 on D, 5 on G. So, are you thinking Wallace and Gromit? Is it because we said Gommet? Yes. I think you're thinking Gromit. So yeah, you go from Gommet 5, and then you slide up again to that minor 3rd shape, the F sharp Mommet, on 7 and 5 of D and G respectively. This is all on the D and G. And then you do a build on the G7 over D. Now, don't be fooled by this. This is, you're hitting on the G and B strings. You're just hitting the 7th fret, so 2 of those strings. And then you can just kind of bar the 2 strings beneath it, the A and D. And you do basically a build just like you did on during the verses. So. And once you get the full volume, we go back into the chorus 2 times. So let me just give you the full picture of how it sounds first, and then we'll play it through slower so you can play it with. So I'll start with the end of the chord progression from the chorus. Just single notes. And then you turn off your reverb as soon as you go back into the chorus. So I'm going to go ahead and count slower, and then we'll play it together. Sound good? And I am going to play the part that I play for the 7 string, which is the same exact part. I just do it on a different string higher up. So let's higher up on the neck. So anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Build 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're back into the chorus. So, now, once we're back in the chorus, you know the chord progression. You play the full chorus 1 time through exactly as you played it the other 2 times. chord and then just loop it. But the second time you do the chorus, because you're going to do the chorus again once you get to that point, don't do the anticipated beats where you're switching on the and beat. Just do the chords straight. You can do the anticipation on the E back to D, but I don't always do it. It's kind of an option. Because the drums already do it, and so we kind of let the drums take their own thing. And at this point in the song, there's also backing vocals that sneak in. So doing the guitar straight like this allows a little more headspace for Jack and I to do just, singing stuff instead of focusing on our hands. The only thing that's different is that instead of doing the octave part when you're just doing the straight chords on the second chorus at the end, the second outro chorus, I guess, when you're about to do the octave little part that we've been doing for the other choruses, instead, the little riff that I do is a little different. It almost completely gets drowned out in the mix, but I do it every time, and I hope people notice it, which is that I do, on the low B string, 8, 10, 12, and 10 on the E string. And then I usually will just pull off to like the open E string. But I do it very lightly, and it's lost in all the noise. The main thing is that I get that ascending melody. And it's straight. Again, that's a straight melody instead of the octaves, which are on offbeats. So I really chose that because it complemented the fact that the chords just went, full force. No like interesting rhythm on it, just full straight. Low chords straight. Repeat the low chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. For the next two chords. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, you'll stop on that low C, on that G power chord, and then you play the D straight through, and the final two chords hit on beat with the song, with the vocals saying "Just Bleed." You hit that, you go back to that G, so you backtrack from C, G, D, and then back to G. Bop, bop, just bleed. Words. So, again, after you do that whole build from the bridge, normal chorus, repeat it, but straight chorus. There you go. There's the outro of the song. After the bridge, all the way to the end. Let's go ahead and play the tune one more time through, and then I'm going to cut this lesson off because I've pretty much shown you everything that there is. All of the rhythm parts are just derived from the chorus guitar. And I might have played some of the rhythm tracks in the 6-string style and then did the lead track in the lower style. So let's go ahead and play the song through with the backing track, and then time to say goodnight. Do it.
I'm in the dark.
Turn your volume
behind
down.
the
Put the reverb
curtain,
on.
My heart won't
Get
stop.
ready.
And now I'm
2, 3,
certain
4.
that
1,
I
2,
know
4.
how
1,
this
2,
script
3, 4.
unfolds.
1, 2, 3.
The bad guy wins, the bad guy gets caught, girl goes with him. That's what we're taught, but I know darkness comes back again. Truth comes out, we're broken inside. Reading lines is not freedom time. What's a potion which gives
Stop. 2, 3, 4.
returns? Cards are face up, crowd yells praise. I'm hating you again, but I know I'm not listening.
Bridge.
You made me think that you were hurt. I thought you were legit. I can't believe after all this time that you just bleed.
There you go. And we've just done it. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you guys for watching the stream. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you for taking the time out of your day. Check it out. I'm glad you guys are at least somewhat interested in learning the song or hearing me show you how to play the song. The song absolutely goes so hard. That's why we put it at the front of the album so that people hear it. All right, so thank you guys. It was very much a blast. This is actually one of the easier ones conceptually to describe. So it was very, very fun to kind of show you guys the ins and outs of this song. It's a very, very much a bop. So I'm glad it got put first in the album. That being said, thank you so much. If you don't already, please follow us here on Twitch. If you feel so kind, feel free to sub. We have plenty of emotes that you got. There's tons of fun stuff, especially when Jack's streaming. He's got all the tech, all the little goodies, all the little icons that react with the chat. I'm boring. But yeah, you can catch me here pretty much every other Wednesday. You can count on it. And then if there's a fifth Wednesday of the month, I'll be doing those as well. So catch me doing lessons then. I will usually sneak in on certain gaming streams. Right now, my computer's not up to snuff to stream most games that I like to play. But I do have an alchemy like potion simulator that I just recently got. If you guys are interested in seeing me play that, maybe sometime I can do that. Otherwise, check this channel not this Saturday, but next Saturday for another gaming or tablet drawing stream by one of us. And check out our Patreon next Wednesday for the live practice that we do. It's about an hour long, uncensored. Generally, we try to stay away from curse words if we can help it. Not always going to happen, but Patreon's totally uncensored. So, thank you guys so much for coming in. I've been John from Until Further Notice, and you have a good day. See you later. See you next Wednesday. Bye.